Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome from around the country to Embassy Row Live, which is the World Affairs Councils of America's program featuring ambassadors in Washington, D.C. from countries around the globe. Today, we're delighted to present to you Haiti's ambassador to the U.S., Bocchit Edmond. I will introduce the ambassador momentarily, and he will have brief remarks, after which we will have a discussion for about 20 minutes. I've been so pleased that the 150 or so of you from around the country, many have presented us with questions already, and I will work those in to our fireside chat. And then you are also welcome, as the conversation proceeds in this hour, to write questions yourself. You can post them on the YouTube live chat box, and we will receive them and ask them as we can. We hope to have a really interesting discussion, and I'm sure we will, because as you know, we've had Haiti has been in the news the last 3 weeks, especially with protests centering on the differences of opinion between the president who is holding on to power and an opposition movement that has taken to the streets, including last Sunday where we saw some violence. Ambassador Edmond is here to make sense of that for us, and we look forward to the discussion with him. Ambassador Bocchit Edmond is a distinguished diplomat of 29 years. He serves as the Haitian ambassador here, as well as chargé d'affaires at the permanent mission of Haiti to the Organization of American States. The ambassador started his career as an attaché in 1990 at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In 1993, he was promoted to first secretary at the very same ministry he led during his tenure as Minister of Foreign Affairs and Worship later in the career. Simultaneously, he has held positions as Minister of Tourism and Creative Industries, and he has served his country in many locations, including Kingston, Jamaica, Panama, London, England, and more. He was appointed Foreign Affairs Minister in September 2018 and Minister of Tourism and Creative Industries from September 2019, both positions he held until March 2020. Ambassador, you've been in Washington, D.C. during this pandemic. I know that's been extremely challenging for every diplomat, but you have handled it well. But now your country is in crisis once again. We welcome your opening remarks.
Thank you so very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank the World Affairs Council of America for this opportunity to speak about the challenges my country, Haiti, currently faces. It is a timely and necessary discussion which I am honored to participate in as the Ambassador of Haiti to the United States. Today, Haiti stands at a crossroad between stability and chaos, the rule of law and turmoil, democracy and anarchy. Through the constitutional reform and elections, Haiti has a unique opportunity in 2021 to break free from this vicious circle, both at home and abroad, and a democratic, peaceful, and a prosperous future. The inherent balance among the three branches of government has resulted in the weakness of our institutions, deadlocked parliaments, and devastating disruptions to our political life. All of which become the norm. Contested in Haiti, unfortunately. Have been without parliament oversight, as we have now, because legislative elections did not take place. That enables even the smallest minority of legislators to block essential proceedings. I'm sure you agree with me that Haiti and its people deserve better than this political deadlock. believes that the right way forward is one which will correct the dysfunctions of the 1987 amended Constitution. According to a recent poll, public survey conducted by the Haiti Nouvelle Association, 86% of Haitians agree. They support overwhelmingly a constitution for our country. If the new constitution will rectify the imbalance which exists between Haiti's branches of power, this is the key to eliminating future disruptions or usurpation of a single branch of government. The new constitution will allow Haiti's youth to have a greater access to decision-making position government. The diaspora community, which has previously been excluded from voting and participate in elections while enjoying the benefit of dual citizenship under the new constitution. In 2018 alone, the diaspora contributed over $3 billion in remittances. It is about time that Haiti's diaspora community has a say in the way their country is run. We remain grateful to their contribution, which represented a lifeline for the countries for years, particularly our national economy. Inclusion of the diaspora voice in our national dialogue over the Constitution is both essential and overdue. Our government is committed to holding free and transparent legislative elections. We have invited international observers to monitor and certify the outcome of the elections. President Moïse has no intention of running for re-election and will step down when his constitutional term ends next year in February 2022. President Moïse has repeatedly stated this in his various public remarks. Indeed, the new constitution, if approved by the Haitian people, will not allow President Moïse to run for re-election. It is clearly stated in its Article 271. President Moïse is ready to transfer power peacefully and democratically in February 2022, when his 5-year term ends, to the next president of Haiti. This is his vision for Haiti. This is his desire for his political legacy. To complete his full term and to transfer power to his democratically elected successor. To break the cycle of political instability and to set Haiti on a path of political and economic stability. To create history by turning a new chapter. Throughout this process, Haiti needs the support of its partners and friends and the international community. Our path to democracy since the inception of our republic has been fraught with challenges, learned lessons, and missed opportunities. But this is not the time to give up the fight for a stronger democracy. There is no going back to the days of impasse and chaos, only going forward to progress, stability, and normalcy. Haiti's motto is l'union fait la force, which means strength through unity. This could not be more true today as we work with our brothers and sisters in Haiti and the diaspora. As President Moïse continues to extend the hand to international community and as well to his brothers and sisters of the opposition to promote a dialogue environment so we can, as Haitians, sit together to discuss the future of our country. I thank you for your time. Bill, I want to thank you and the World Affairs Council of America for hosting me today and putting together this event. I appreciate the opportunity to engage with you and your audience and the attendees. I look forward for your questions. Thank you.
Ambassador Edmond, thank you very much for those opening remarks. We have heard some of those before. In fact, you appeared on CNN over the weekend. Also, last Friday, the Washington Post published your opinion piece, which was in response to an editorial in the Post that said the problem with Haiti these days is your president, Moise, that he is one of the, quote, worst in many years. And the editorial, along with the opposition, contends that the issue is that his term should have ended a few weeks ago, February 7th, and that the way the Constitution works is that unfortunately there was an interim government during his first year, which he claims explains the need to finish out one more year till February 2022. Does it really matter, this dispute? I mean, has he lost credibility with the public anyway, so that governance is impossible?
I do not think so. It doesn't lose any credibility whatsoever. What I will tell you, in fact, that's the beauty of democracy. Everybody has the right to their own opinion, because we are living in Haiti in a democratic society. People can have different opinions from others. The president is elected for 5 years, as the Constitution says. He's sworn in February 2017, and he will step down on February 7, 2022, the day his successor, who will be elected democratically, take office.
The international community has largely supported your view and the president's view that he should lead for another year. That includes, up till now, the State Department, the UN, the OAS. However, over the weekend, it seems that there is a shift. The State Department official, the acting assistant secretary, issued remarks that, in fact, we should see elections soon, and her language was one of such concern that it seemed that there might be some wavering there. Secretary Blinken hasn't said anything yet. However, Congress, led by the chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Mr. Weeks, and several of his Democratic colleagues have sent a letter to Secretary of State Blinken calling for immediate elections. Well, how do you respond to that?
Hopefully you have seen as well my tweets.
I have. Share them. I'm not sure my colleagues have, but I have, yes.
I believe that I couldn't be clear enough. So that will be the position of my government. We are decided and we are determined to have elections very soon. As you know, we are in a constitutional reform process. There will be a referendum, and those elections will be held under the auspices of the new constitution if approved by the people. And secondly, I understand the concerns of our friends, particularly from the States and from the US Congress as well. And I'm here to engage them, and I will continue to do so, because sometimes they may have some misleading information. Because it's very important to get those information as well from the government representative here. That's why I'm here to engage, to talk to them, and to clarify things that might be appeared a bit confusing. But I'm here to tell them that, so I'm here to engage, and I will, address every issues, every concerns they have. And by the way, you talk about shift, But yesterday there was the UN Security Council session on Haiti yesterday.
Yes.
And as you could see, the president had to, wanted to make his views, and he did so very well. And as you could see, all 50 member states of the United Nations Security Council, they are calling for elections. Because we cannot, in a democratic society, not supporting a democratically elected president who's willing, who's determined to hold elections, we cannot afford not to support him. That would be a great service to democracy, because our democracy needs to be strengthened. So elections is the way forward. Elections is the only way to get power.
So on this point, I'm going to start integrating some of the questions that are coming in and some that I have prepared. Respectfully, people are disagreeing that this is actually democratic. Pastor, Cabral, if they're saying these questions, I can mention their name. Says, what is happening in Haiti is not democracy, Ambassador, it's massacre. Too many unnecessary deaths. So I want to take the first part of that, the question of it's not being a democracy. In the fall of 2019, your legislature stopped functioning, and there weren't elections. Now only a third of the Senate is in existence, but the rest of the legislature has been out since January of 2020. Just this month, your president has fired 3 justices, and by decree, he is creating a tribunal or a panel to oversee the elections that have not been scheduled, all of them handpicked by him. So the criticism is that the legislature is not functioning. The Supreme Court is not functioning because of these firings, and also magistrates have protested and gone on strike, and the Bar Association and other bodies are protesting what's that decision. So the judiciary is not working, and the message to the Haitian people is that we're going to do constitutional reform first, now postponed from April to June, and we'll get elections done maybe in the fall afterwards. That essentially means he will be in power almost through his final year, but it is going to be a tarnished legacy, and the voice of the people goes unheard.
Yeah, you have said so many things. I don't know where to start. But first of all, let me try to answer one by one the way I will remember them. The first one is about the judges. The judges were not fired. They were, invited to wage or to ask the right to go to retirement. Because why? Any society, any democratic society, a judge of the Supreme Court, it is like here in the United States, no judge on the bench at the Supreme Court or any other court. All of them are political. You cannot be judge at the same time being involved in politics. Therefore, there will be an issue of credibility here for the court, because we are talking about our highest court, which is the last resort in any legal matters. If any judge at that court cannot, show impartiality, how can you restore or can you believe in the decision and the credibility of the decision of the court? So what happened to those 3 judges? They left the bench, they abandoned the profession to be the judge of the Supreme Court, and each one of them belonged to a political party of the opposition. One was involved in a plot and a coup against the democratically elected president. The other one chosen by a group against his will, probably, And there was another one and waiting for another group of opposition again. Therefore, even here in the United States, let us take the example in the United States. Any judge from the Supreme Court or any other judge from any other benches cannot be involved in politics. That constitution they are pretending defending prohibits the participation of judges in politics. They used to refer to the Supreme Court, what we call the Cour Cassation, and case of vacancy, presidential vacancy. But since the amendment in 2012, that was no longer the case. The judiciary power remains out of politics. That's the fact. Secondly, I believe there was one citizen, a pastor, where could you contest a country there is no democracy, where we have more than 400 radio stations, most of them doing political show, criticize the president and his government without anything happening to them? Is not the democracy? Where you can have anyone, even here in the United States, if someone comes with an accusation against an official, he or she has to prove it. But in Haiti, you may accuse anyone, you may say anyone, anything you want against anyone in politics, nothing will happen. Because every time there will be an attempt to sue that person, they will be seeing it as the political persecution.
I have to jump in here. I have to jump in there, if I may, because I think that point comes under some dispute, in that there have been charges by a number of independent organizations and human rights organizations that there is state-supported attacks on some of the protesters. And there are also charges that, as we have seen, even in our own country, about protesters and how the state and the police have been acting, that in Haiti, there isn't due process, and that even, you would expect that if a protester is harmed by anybody, that person would have the right to pursue justice in a court, and yet the courts are not prosecuting these cases either. So it is seen by some and criticized by some as a lawless situation where there isn't that kind of process, and that protesters are taking their lives, putting their lives in danger to exercise their free speech.
But listen, there is one guarantee I can give you today, and I will always repeat that, and I believe any members of the administration will repeat that. There is guarantees. It is a constitutional guarantee for the people to protest peacefully. No one can take that away from the people. The right to protest peacefully. But unfortunately, many of those peaceful protesters, most of the time, are infiltrated by bandits, by people who want chaos. And it is the responsibility of the national police, as it is in any democratic society, to step in and restore order. But I understand that may happen. Some police brutalities are unacceptable. I repeat that. Police brutalities are unacceptable. The most important thing is those cases, I want, and I believe the Director General of the police will refer them to the Inspection General to investigate and to punish any police officers that can go over the rule of engagement. But we will always condemn the police attacks against any civilian protesting peacefully and against journalists, because there is no intention of the government to attack journalists. As you may know, Haiti holds the 83rd position on 189 countries on the Press Freedom Global Index. We have never been in any policy, any kind of way to attack journalists. We need to respect journalists, and we will continue to protect journalists and respect them. They have the right to inform the people. Therefore, we need to protect them.
Very well. I have questions from Mo Riley and also Rose Laguerre regarding kidnappings. And they're asking if you could speak on the government's strategy to address kidnappings, some of which are for ransom in Haiti. This has become almost an everyday experience, not just for foreigners. What should be done? The other questioner says kidnapping has worsened, and I think that's supported by a UN report that recently came out that kidnappings have worsened since President Moisi's administration begun. So how do you address the security question, which needs to be addressed? Also, you need security to have functioning elections.
Indeed. Listen, first of all, it is something that we're grateful of, to see many of our fellow citizens are being victimized, are being held against their will. It is a sad situation. We will always condemn that. I know the national police is working very hard to see how they can root out gangs that are, using those kind of tactics or ways to earn money, to create destabilization. We understand that it's a very big issue. We need to address it very carefully, because we cannot, as government, continue to stay and look our citizens are being kidnapped every day. But I must tell you, we are seeking cooperation. As yesterday, I think there is a kind of cooperation that's trying to establish between the United States and Colombia, trying to bring some experts in kidnapping and to help the national police. Because it is a fact, we need to recognize that. That's the only force we have. Unfortunately, they are under-equipped. Sometimes those gangs members are even well armed than the national police. So it is a very difficult situation. We understand it, and we understand it is the responsibility of the government to bring peace and calmness in every citizen's heart and mentality. But unfortunately, it's a very hard battle. But the most important thing is, I understand the national police is working very hard. And we believe with the help of the Colombians and the United States, that certainly will help us to, curve down or eliminate those bandits who are trying to put that shame on this country. It is not acceptable, and we'll continue to fight against it.
Thank you. We're at the halfway point in our discussion with Ambassador Bocchit Edmond, Haiti's ambassador to the US and chargé d'affaires permanent at the Organization of American States. Ambassador, two more questions regarding democracy, and then I think we should move to some economic issues, which are also pressing. Richard Amaris asks, can the ambassador share with us how long it will take for Haiti to have elections between now and February? Is that enough time for this process to take place fairly?
Of course, it is because according to the UN expert, the OAS expert, who always been useful to our electoral process, there are enough time, because remember, we have a calendar. The first round of the elections is September 19, and the second round will be in November. And the final results of the election should be known by early January. So the parliament will be in place in January, and the elected president will swear in February 2022. We do have enough time now. The most important thing we are working on now is when it comes to the citizen IDs that will allow them to vote. That's why we are working very hard to increase the people who are able to vote, to make sure that they have the ID, so the process will have more participation and more people will be able to decision making. Because remember, it is elections. We need to give more people possible the right to choose their leaders. And this is what we are doing now. We do have a lot of time to do so. And we are working very hard on the infrastructure with the help of the UN and the OAS and some other international organizations.
Ambassador, you mentioned in your opening remarks about the Haitian diaspora, and we have several questioners, including from Carol Barat Joseph in Richmond, Texas. How can the diaspora be of help during this time of crisis in Haiti?
Of course, the diaspora is to us, sometimes in the past, we used to consider them as illegitimate child, as we call them in Creole, petit déo. But the diaspora is not an illegitimate child. The diaspora is a legitimate child. They have the same rights as the Haitians living in Haiti. But unfortunately, that's what that Constitution of 1987 failed to give them those rights. Under the new Constitution, the diaspora members will have the same rights as Haitians living in Haiti. And we believe now, in this time of crisis, the diaspora, we have, remember, more than 80% of our intellectuals, trained professionals, they are part of the diaspora. Therefore, if we need to rebuild that country, that Haiti we love, we cannot rebuild Haiti we love without the diaspora members. They have to be included. They have to be part of that process. That's why we are keen to get them involved in the process, and particularly in the referendum process that will lead to the elections. And so we understand there will be some willingness from the diaspora to be part of any political process or any process that could lead to a peaceful solution or to a democratically elected officials or elections. Because diaspora, where they live, even in the United States and Canada and France and any other countries, they know how democracy works. They see democracy is working somewhere else. Why democracy cannot work in their own homeland? So that's where we believe they have to encourage, they have to push for that change. So they will be able to bring their own contributions in that very big constructions.
You mentioned the remittances, and what if the flow were to subside or significantly shrink? I think, could you remind us again the figure and what percent of GDP those remittances account for, because it's quite substantial. And so if for any reason, say the economic climate being much weaker because of COVID and a recession, if the impact of that on Haiti's economy and how it might worsen the poverty situation.
Yeah, it is like more or less under 20-25% of GDP. But the most important thing is if there will be a case where the remittances would have been reduced, that won't be, I'm sure, that won't be because the diaspora will want to reduce it. Haitians are very emotional. Haitians are very attached to their own people. They will never do such thing. The only thing that can affect it is the current situation or economic situation in any other countries where our diaspora is living. Therefore, we understand that, according to the last, I believe the Economic Recovery US Act, I think on countries like in 2018, we had more than $19 billion sent to Haiti. So this is to show you that it's a very big chunk of our national economy, of our national budget. So I understand that certainly can affect if there is an economic situation and the country where the diaspora lives, but it won't be a kind of willingness of the diaspora not to send money in Haiti, because they know they're attached to their families, they're attached to the the enterprises. Most of them have some enterprises, private enterprises in Haiti, or helping their own families and so on. So that won't be, we won't get there. I'm sure we won't get there.
Just to let folks know about the situation on the ground in Haiti, the living standards. This is a population of about 11 million people, and about 60% are considered to be living in poverty. This is earning $2.50 a day, and a quarter of them, meaning a little over 2.5 million people, live in extreme poverty, which is about less than $1.25 a day. Obviously, this means heavy reliance on humanitarian assistance. And do you worry that, we saw in the Trump administration that there was an effort to curb assistance? Congress ignored that and, in fact, increased it in the current budget. But overall, if Congress now is tilting toward concern about the presidential decrees and the path of democracy, might that aid be status quo or lower? And what would that mean for that large population of Haitians living in poverty or extreme poverty?
Listen, one of the way I would answer that question, I would always say that it's been a while since probably when I was a younger man. I used to hear those kind of, facts about my country. Probably at that time we weren't 11 million yet. Those are not new to me. But unfortunately, it seems to me that considerations are those kind of information about our own country. Because you know why? Any country where there is no political stability, where no foreign direct investment will flow, there won't be any other results than what we have today. We must accept this country needs political stability. We need to send a new and positive image about our own country. And therefore, foreign investors, because this country has a lot of potentialities. We have more than 50% of youth. That means the workforce is very young. Once we can sit down together as Haitians and we determine to change the political course and to see how we can together forward and to be more political and stable country, I believe those foreign investments will come and we will be able to create more wealth. We will be able to create more jobs, and then the economic situation will get better and will improve, and we will talk about our own country in a better way. Because it saddens me every time they are talking about my country. The only image that comes up is the image of poverty. And when we are not a poor nation, this is the issue. And sometimes I feel embarrassed and I feel ashamed of that. And when our relation...
Ambassador, your internet connection has frozen, so you may need to repeat that. And the World Affairs Council staff is in communication with the embassy to try and adjust the audio. tech problems. Please stand by for what we hope will be a resumption of Embassy Row Live and the final 15 minutes of our dialogue with Ambassador Bocchit Edmond, Haiti's ambassador to the United States and chargé d'affaires of the permanent mission of Haiti to the Organization of American States. We have a lot more questions coming in, and that's really exciting, and we hope to present them to the ambassador when he returns.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
I'm back here. I don't know what happened. So it is technology anyway. So
one question in terms of U.S. foreign aid that comes from Lillian Spilde. How would you, Mr. Ambassador, the people of Haiti feel about U.S. foreign aid coming to the country in the form of power dams constructed by the U.S. government instead of cash, or other kinds of investment that would promote industry, jobs, and hopefully an improved standard of living?
I think that could be a good approach. I don't know if your viewer, the one who has asked that question, if he could go to the CBTPA law that voted by the Congress, that will give such provision among many other benefits, help situation, sustain U.S. young productions and encourage investment in the sector, particularly in various sectors like textile and agriculture and so on. So that would be a good opportunity. But the most important thing is we want the U.S. To stop seeing us in the lens of humanitarian recipient aid. We just want the United States to see us as a trade partner because we have a lot of potentialities. We are 1.5 hours from Miami, from Haiti, by plane, 2.5 days by boat. Therefore, there are a lot of things, and America will be less dependent on nations outside or the Western Hemisphere. So with the issues regarding, for instance, the imports or the investments, and I believe Haiti hopes and expects to benefit from the nearshoring, for instance. I don't know if I know your viewers are actually, accustomed to that new term, nearshoring. So it's a new concept introduced by the United States Congress. So I believe once they will see us as a trade partner, and I believe the United States will have more interest in working and helping us to have a more stable and democratic country where politics will give way to economics, where political instability will step aside and open the door for foreign and direct investment, consequently to a more political and stable environment. This is what I understand.
Two quick follow-up questions on this that are economic, and then we'll move to another direction. Elizabeth Karras in Little Rock, Arkansas, notes there is a huge imbalance between imports and exports in Haiti. Can you speak to this? And secondly, Paige Chickering notes a recent documentary called Madame Sarah details the vital role that women play in the marketing and distribution of food across Haiti. However, they've received little government support as part of the informal economy. And there have been episodes where their livelihoods have been threatened, both economic, political, and in the realm of natural disasters as well. So could you comment on the trade imbalance and on the role of women in the informal economy?
Listen, in our culture in Haiti, women is the backbone of our families. This is one, I don't know if you remember in my remarks, when I spoke about the intent of the new constitution. It wants to give more rights to our women, and therefore they will be more involved in politics and policy making decision. It is a fact, unfortunately. Women, being a backbone of our society and being particularly the Madame Sarah, those are the ones who are the motor of our informal economy. But unfortunately, they don't have access to credit. This is one of the challenges President Moïse administration really is working on for the last 4 years. Is trying to give credit to a lot of women through different programs. They might be not so much, but at least there have been some differences making. For instance, there was a program called ONAFAM. It's a program financed by a public entity to give credits to women for their small businesses. And I believe that's been a success, and particularly not only in the capital, but in countrysides. I believe women will always be the backbone of this society, and we must do things and we must act to make sure women are part of the policy decision making. So I believe that would be a benefit for the society. When it comes to the imbalance between import and export in Haiti, I will come back to what I said before. You cannot have increase in exportation if you do not produce anything. The national productions has come to a low. It's very low now. Particularly, we used to export a lot of agricultural products, but now, unfortunately, we are importing them. Therefore, we need to find a way where we can spend less on importation and invest more in national production. I believe this is one of the projects of President Moïse from the start of his term, but unfortunately, again and again, political instability. And there was an impediment to this program. So I understand we cannot have a proper balance if we are not investing much more in national productions. Therefore, we'll be able to export much more, and then we can import less. So that's the only solution. But again and again, everything will have to go through political stability. If we don't have political stability, if everything is politics, if every day we continue to do politics without thinking about the economics, the situation will get worse.
Great, thank you. I'd like to move to some regional and global questions for you in our remaining just under 10 minutes, Ambassador. This question, pardon me, comes from Gabrielle Anglade. Can you address the situation in the Dominican Republic regarding Haitians living there? What is being done regarding their safety and constant discrimination?
Yeah, it has always been the case whenever two countries share borders, because we are one island shared by two countries. Unfortunately, there is a disparity between my country and Dominican Republic. But again, I will say something. The Dominicans in '94, they sat down together, they agreed on a political agreement to move their countries forward. Ever since, they have experienced a lot of economics change and booms, a lot of foreign investments. And you know what? Whenever you have one country from one side, which is economically more prosperous, you will always have the migration from the other part, which has less opportunity. But the first way to start solving that issue is to better the economic situation, where there will be more employments, more in foreign investment, and you will have less people going to seek for a better life. Once they are there, I believe it is our duty as country, even both countries, to come together to see how they can have a better immigration policy. And I believe both governments, the current government in Haiti and the current government in Dominican Republic, they are working seriously to address those issues and to see how they can help in improving the kind of politics when it comes to immigration, when it comes to trade, when it comes to, to any other exchanges. But the guarantee I can give you, we are working very closely with the Dominican Republic, but we understand we are not going to solve those issues overnight. It's going to be a process. But the most important thing is there is a will to address those issues, to discuss them. But at the same time, as long as we continue to have political instability in our homeland, people will always tend to go to the other side. It is a social dynamic. There is nothing we can do about it. The only thing we can do about it is to come together as Haitians, as a country, to see where we can go with our country and what we can do for the betterment of our future and for our kids. This is the solution.
COVID, climate change, and human rights are the final questions. We could spend another hour. Haiti's done actually remarkably well, relatively speaking, in a region that has seen over 500,000 deaths. Haiti's are just a couple of hundred. What explains the success there?
I believe the only way I can answer you is not only there was a willingness from the government from day one trying to reduce the incoming flights, because we understood when we started to see it, it was mostly imported cases. And when we decided to close the airports to cancel all flights, that certainly helped. And there is another secret in Haiti. Sometimes your viewers may not know it, but local remedies, what we call the traditional medicine, is a key in Haiti. Because some countries, some people may not believe in it, but in Haiti, we do believe the traditional medicines can help. And I believe Haitians, they use a lot of traditional medicines, a lot of natural teas. So that really help. That really help. I understand that fortunately for us, we have not seen a lot of casualties, but from the beginning, it was a panic. We even thought that we are going to have more than 200,000 something deaths in less than 3 months. But thanks God, we did not see that. And so far, we are doing pretty well.
Congratulations on that. You are in a geography that is seeing increasing weather patterns that are destructive. You've experienced an earthquake in 2010, Hurricane Matthew in 2016. Climate change. How is Haiti preparing for the inevitable? And given the relative social and economic standards, it could get so much worse if there are repeated disasters. What steps are you taking to address climate change in the country and in diplomatic circles?
Yeah, in the country, I believe the most important thing is, as this current government has tried to push, is to embark on a reforestation policy to make sure that we curve down on the deforestation. To some extent, certainly that has affected us a lot. But on the other hand, at the same time, when we face this situation every year, and particularly most of the time, those who are affected are the most vulnerable. Whenever we have hurricane, and they tend to go particularly into the mountains and the rural areas where the constructions are not well built, and when we had so many vulnerable communities. But there is something very important. As I believe, not only in Haiti, I believe in a conference, as I said, I think it was I was foreign minister then, at the Southern Command in Miami. I stated in the Caribbean, we need to consider this issue as a national security matter because it affects our way of lives, our way of living, and it affects our economy. Because when you take into consideration many islands of the Caribbean, many investments that have been done, and overnight in a simple hurricane, everything is gone. And we need to start from zero. So that's why it's very important to consider this issue as a national security matter. Therefore, we need to see how our international partners, with the vast of experiences they have, they collected over the years, to see how they can help us to secure or strengthen the way we respond to natural disaster. I remember President Moïse, when he was the chair of CARICOM, he proposed one Caribbean policy. One Caribbean policy means that there will be a kind of insurance to help those countries whenever they're hit. Because right now we have the CDB, the Caribbean Development Bank, that gives us a small insurance coverage, but which is not enough. I believe it is much more important to have a better, a wider approach in terms of helping those Caribbean islands to protect the investment what they have against natural disaster.
Ambassador, as we close, and we really are at the top of the hour, I know that judging from the many questions that we will have people stay with us just for this final moment, I'd like to change what I said just a moment ago. Not to, I mean, we've dealt with human rights to an extent, but let me do it this way. We have one participant who is asking very quickly, where can we see the proposed constitutional reforms in English? Number one. Number two, a very good idea. Would you be able to persuade President Moïse to come on our program to speak to the American people in an interview like this?
First one, the draft constitution is being translated into English because the reason they don't want to, I believe that from the beginning there was not that sentiment because remember, this is not the final draft. The draft is being circulated and to where people will give their opinions, where any commentaries will be taken into account, and so they can make it better and improve it to have the final text. Certainly, I believe there was a team working on the translation of this new text, and once it's available, I will certainly send it to your organization, and you can share it with your viewers and your audience, your members. When it comes to President Moïse, certainly I will talk to his team, to his chief of staff, and I will talk to his communication team, and they will assess it. And then I believe he will be more than willing to talk to the American people through your organization. Because President Moïse is a Democrat, he's open to talk to anyone, he's open to listen to anyone who have different views, and he's open to respond all questions. So that's what he's been doing for the last 4 years, and he's still ready to do so.
We would appreciate that opportunity very much. I want to close by with a question from Nathalie Tancrede, who, this is something we haven't discussed, but it goes to the heart of Haiti's image. Haitian art and artists have played and continue to play a major role in creating a positive image of Haiti in the world. Are there plans in the works for this administration to support artists and artisans through programs and events to expand economic opportunities for them?
Oh, this is here at the Embassy of Haiti in Washington. We've been doing for years. We've been promoting artists. We've been promoting, people or artists or craft art specialists and any sectors in the cultural division, because we have a cultural department here that deals with that. If Ms. Tancred can contact our embassy in DC, if she's in the United States, if she has products, if she has any other, painting, craft, and whatever, or if he is an artist, he sings, we can hold any kind of festival or music activity. We do those things. We do promote our artists. It's very important to us, and this is part of our culture. It is part of our wealth. We always take advantage of that. So we are open. If she wants to contact our embassy here in DC, we certainly can work with her. So we have worked with Tancred already, I believe, the way, if I understand. Having the name says something to us here. So I think we worked with her in the past, and we will continue to work with her. And our doors here at the embassy is open. Our consulates all over the United States, we have 7 consulates, they are open. So please contact us again. And we are a partner. We are here to work with you.
Ambassador Edmond, I know how busy you are, especially at this time. I really appreciate your spending an hour with us for Embassy Row Live and speaking in conversation with me, and also responding to the questions of our many participants across the country who I know will continue to follow what's going on politically and socially and economically in Haiti. We are here for you. And I just want to thank everybody this afternoon for joining the program. Again, we are speaking with Bocchit Edmond, Ambassador of the Republic of Haiti to the United States. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so very much, Bill. It's been a pleasure to be with you. But before I close, there are 4 facts I wanted to leave with your audience.
Certainly.
Fact number 1, President Moise is not seeking re-election. Fact number 2, according to the Haitian Constitution, judges cannot be involved in politics. Once you are involved in politics, you have to resign. Fact number 3, Parliament was not dissolved. Parliament term expired. Fact number 4, we don't have a policy of prosecuting, of attacking journalists. We are here to protect the rights, the freedom of press. And as I told you before, we hold 83rd position in 189 countries. And we're a country, we have more than 400 radio stations, or 100 TV stations. None of them has been prosecuted or attacked. Those are 4 facts I wanted to leave your audience with. And thank you so very much again for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for those takeaways. We know you speak for the president, and if President Moise would like to come on our show as well, we would gladly update on those points, as well as many others, perhaps when it becomes more clear where the constitutional reforms and the elections are to be scheduled, as we know the United States is seeking, and the international community. Thank you, Ambassador Edmond.
Thank you so very much, indeed. So
stay healthy. God bless. All right. Thank you, everybody.